Hey guys, thanks for tuning us in for this 33rd episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. Special guests for this episode include writer and director Jeffrey Reddick, producer Jason Chapin, actress and now producer Sheryl Lee Ralph, speaker and author Terrence K. Williams, and country artist Emma White. If you would, please take the time to subscribe, drop a like, comment, leave some feedback, and share with your friends. Our first guest is writer and director, you know him as the creator of the Final Destination movie series, Jeffrey Reddick. First off, Jeffrey, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Now,
I'm
Jeff,
on the West Coast. You got my butt out of bed early.
yeah. You said you already got some coffee in you, so you're at least partially ready for it, right?
I'm completely ready. I don't drink coffee, so it's a special. I drank coffee for you there, so I am.
Now, Jeffrey, tell our listeners a little bit about Don't Look Back. I love the tagline of it and everything. Give our listeners just a little insight, if you will.
Yeah, Don't Look Back is a mystery thriller supernatural film about a group of people who see somebody getting assaulted in a park and don't intervene. Like, they don't even call for help or try to stop it. And once video of them watching gets out and the victim dies, something or someone starts coming after them. So our lead character is trying to figure out if it's a supernatural threat, if it's a real killer, or if it's all in her head. So it's kind of a what's doing it kind of film. So it's not a hardcore horror film. It's more, of a mystery of trying to figure out what's coming after them and how to stop it.
And like I said, the tagline says "Karma is coming for us all." And now I know this is not necessarily just a horror film, so I know you want to definitely differentiate that a little bit as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm one of those horror geeks that I used to hate movies when people were like, "It's not really a horror film," and then it was, and I'm like, "You shut up! There's no shame in being a horror film." But the only reason I want to differentiate this is because I think when people see the trailer and hear about it, they're going to be thinking, "Oh, this is going to be like a, really intense, bloody kind of Final Destination movie with karma." And obviously because it's a mystery and you don't know what's killing our victims, we didn't have a lot of room to show a lot of like the death scenes. So there's not a lot of like horrific, scary death scenes in there. So it is definitely more of a mystery, but there's horror elements in it. But I'm not trying to distance myself from the genre at all because, I love horror and most of the stuff I do is horror. So I always like to manage expectations going in.
There you go.
It's creepy. It's creepy though, and it's got some scares in there. But
now, Jeffrey, where do you?
Not a ton of blood.
There you go. Where do you find the dark inspiration? I mean, a huge franchise, Final Destination, and now the Don't Look Back. Where do you find the darkness, or is it easy to? It's probably easier to find this year, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. This is like one of the most beautiful times I've ever seen in humanity. I do find inspiration in kind of real life stuff, but I try to always find at least a universal element to the story, and I think that definitely people's lack of empathy for each other is something that's, always troubled me. This kind of goes back to the Kitty Genovese story about the woman in New York who was assaulted in a courtyard. And we kind of were told in history class that people watched and nobody helped, and the story was later debunked. The media had blown it up, no surprise. But yeah, that kind of stuck with me, and it's gotten worse, I think, in the with the cell phone age, where people see something horrible happening and their first instinct is like, let's record it instead of let's call the police and then record it. So, that universal element is what I try to find with any film that I do. Horror, even the horror stuff, I try to find the universal kind of element that will kind of cross over. And with this one, we also deal with faith in a positive way, which doesn't normally happen in horror films, and karma and grief. So there's a lot. I think, hopefully it wasn't too much I was trying to deal with. But there's a lot of stuff in there that I was trying to cover in my first film. So I'm really happy with how it turned out.
And for you, how obviously Final Destination and Don't Look Back, the marketing obviously totally different. And are you appreciating learning new technology, or are you well, kind of like myself and fighting against it as much as possible?
I have to pretty much, to survive, I have to learn to adapt really quickly. I was talking to my producer friends last night about how much the business has changed. Like back in the old days, you could, take a pitch into a studio and sell it. And now you go into a studio with a full script and they're like, well, who's your director? And who's your star? I'm like, hey, when I worked at New Line Cinema, you used to buy the script and then you bring on the director and the star. So how am I supposed to, So the system has changed, but also the technology has gotten smaller. You can shoot stuff like on your iPhone now, which I haven't done that yet. But, I'm adapting. I just roll with it because otherwise this business, it's already tough enough. So I think if you're fighting, if you're trying to fight where the business is going on a technical level, it's just, they're not going to change because I say so. So it's just like, I just roll with it. And try not to sound too old.
There you go. Now, like we said, things different, and with the release of Don't Look Back, where do folks find the new movie? I know it's going to be in some theaters as well, right?
Yeah, it's going to be. We have 32 screens right now, and then we're also playing in some drive-ins. So I'm not trying to get Twitter followers here, but probably the best way to find it is to follow me on Twitter, because when I get the updated list, I'm pinning it on my Twitter feed. So they could follow me at Jeffrey A. Reddick on Twitter. And I have the list of the 32 theaters there. And with the drive-ins, we'll probably know tomorrow which ones they're going to be playing at. And it's also going to be on all the, Amazon, Vudu, iTunes. It'll also be there tomorrow too. But, I think a lot of people want to get out and go to the theater. And this is obviously the best time to go out and see something that's creepy and spooky. So I'm really excited to have it come out now.
That's awesome. And hey, nothing wrong with a shameless Twitter plug.
Well, you know what? I don't do Instagram because it's like I don't have any thirst pictures. Like I'm not taking pictures with my shirt off, and I'm just writing all the time. So who wants to see me sitting at a computer? It's not like I'm traveling the world. Doing excited. I'm like, oh, here I am typing again. I'm sure there's some people out there that might get into that. There might be some people that would be like, oh, that's soothing.
That's also the reason why you're not on Instagram, right?
Yes. Here I am. Typing more.
That's awesome. Well, again, the new movie, Don't Look Back. Check out his Twitter feed. Jeffrey A. Reddick. And Jeffrey, it's been great to visit with you this morning. Looking forward to checking out the film, and hopefully we can catch up again real soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Cameron. I really appreciate it.
Up next, we'll talk with actress and now director Sheryl Lee Ralph. New movie Like, Comment, Subscribe, which premieres on BET this Saturday, October 17th. All right, guys, another very special guest. Always good to talk to our friends in the business, and not only actress, singer, author, and activist, but also she lights up a room, even if it's on the phone or when she comes in person. Sheryl Lee Ralph on the line, and Sheryl, always great to visit with you, my friend.
Oh, my God. Cameron, I'm so happy to be with you. I mean, Oklahoma. Every time I hear Oklahoma, I go back to high school with my big on-stage musical debut. And, of course, I was Adu Annie in Oklahoma when the wind comes whistling down the plain. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
And Sheryl, we're always we've always got something new to talk about, and I'm excited to talk about your directing of the film Like, Comment, Subscribe that premieres coming up this Saturday. And Sheryl, how excited are you about this new project?
Cameron, I'm excited to be behind the camera. I'm excited to be a director. I'm excited and thrilled to know that after all of these years of being in front of the camera, that when I got behind the camera, I was at home once again. I have an amazing young cast, Jasmine Love, Mark McKinnon, and I discovered as a actor's director, I was able to help bring them to another level of performance. And I just felt so good about that. And of course, it's October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And to have a script and a story that tells such an important story, especially for young women who feel that, oh, I'll never get breast cancer. It was important to tell them to put themselves first. So I'm very happy.
And have you come up with what is your go-to move whenever you're trying to get somebody's attention? Do you have the finger snap? What's your go-to move?
My go-to move is to get them to remember when they might have felt the way the character is feeling now. I need them, you've got to be empathetic. You've got to feel your character quite literally. And Jasmine had lost her aunt to breast cancer. So when she'd get stuck, I'd say, think about your aunt. Think about what she went through. Think about how you felt going through this with your aunt. And immediately she would rise to the level of her performance. So that for me was amazing. And I was listening to them talk about what it was like to have me as a director, and they said it's the way I say thank you. And I realized what that meant. For me, when you get to that place, when you deliver the performance, all I can say is thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, there were lots of thanks going on in making this movie.
And how cool is it to look at it and see? Do you see it through a different lens? I mean, did it make you maybe appreciate some of the direction that you received in your career as well?
You know something? I'm one of those actors who's never had a lot of interaction with my directors, and I've worked with some of the best. I remember my first director, Mr. Poitier. Oh, that was something amazing. My first film was a last of a trilogy of films that he and Bill Cosby did, and it was called Piece of the Action. And he really put me through the paces, and I'll never forget them as an artist. But, coming behind the camera, it was just like, wow, I get it. I see what they see now. I get it. I understand it. And I completely understand hurry up and wait, because actors spend so much time waiting because we've got to get it right. We've got to get the lighting right. We've got to get the situation right. We've got to get the vibe right. We've got to get the shot right. We've got to make sure the script is right. So much has got to be right before the shot goes off.
And also, we've been talking about this as well. The BET Her has released some female-centric films, and to be a part of that, we talked with Kim and Tressa earlier as this started rolling out, to see that support in the community. How cool is that for you as well, Sheryl?
First of all, that is amazing. I really have to thank Tressa with Mega Mind Studios, and I have to thank BET Her. But it was my friend Victoria Rowell. She and I worked together on a film called Distinguished Gentlemen. Victoria is also in my film, and she directed one that was presented in July on mental illness. But I tell you, Vicky brought my name forward to BET. The script was sent to me. I was chosen to direct it. And it was crazy because art started to imitate life. I read the script, and my brother had married his partner a month before, we start to work. And we knew she had cancer. A week before I start rolling, my brother's wife died, planning her wedding, working into her future, just like my character in the film. And I was like, oh my God, I believe God orders your steps. And this script was put into my hands to tell young women, you do not have to die. Please take care of yourself. Get into proper care. Do that monthly exam. Check on your breasts, because you matter. And if you won't do it for yourself, do it for your children. Do it for your family, because without you, something changes for everybody.
And Sheryl, to see a film that you were in the director's seat for come to air, how much different is the excitement level looking up to the release coming up Saturday night for you?
Oh my God, it's just the same. Last night they had a premiere, a pull-up premiere in a drive-in in Virginia, and I was like to Jasmine, just put the camera on the screen. I just want to hear people's reactions, So it's just the same. All of these things. You wait for your book. You wait for your film. It's all the same excitement.
That's awesome. And again, be able to check it out on BET Her coming up this Saturday. Like, comment, subscribe. And Sheryl, always want to make sure and let our listeners know where they can keep up with everything social media-wise you got going on as well.
Social media-wise, I'm on Instagram at the THE, Sheryl with an S, Sheryl Lee Ralph. Please go to my Instagram. You can order your vote masks. You can find out all the information about my book, Redefining Diva 2.0. It is available now on Audible. People on my social media asked for it during the pandemic, because I was reading certain parts of the book, and they were like, you have to give us the audio version. We need to hear you giving us this book. So that was one of the great things that came out of the pandemic. The book is now available, Redefining Diva 2.0. Follow me on social media, The Sheryl Lee Ralph on Instagram and The Sheryl Ralph on Twitter. And of course, it's Sheryl with an S. But follow, and enjoy.
There you go. Well, Sheryl, always great to visit with you. I'm looking forward to the film, and also hope you have a great rest of your week and catch up again real soon, my friend.
Thank you, my friend, and be safe in quarantine.
Up next is producer Jason Chapin. He's the producer of a new Harry Chapin documentary coming out in limited theater release and also on demand next month. First off, Jason, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show.
My pleasure. Great to be with you.
Now, tell us a little bit about the documentary, and was this a little hard for you to make as well?
Well, probably decades in the making. Bill Ayers, who co-founded Why Hunger with my father to fight hunger and poverty back in 1975, he was talking to Rick Korn, who's one of the other producers, who they were talking about my father, and Bill Ayers said to Rick, said, if you have so much interest in Harry Chapin, why don't you make a documentary about him? And so Rick was off and running, contacted my mother and myself, and told us what he wanted to do. And what makes this unique and special for us is that it's not just about my father's music career. About half the movie is about that, but it's also about his humanitarian work, fighting hunger and poverty and getting involved in other social issues, and also the artists who were featured in the film, the musicians and people who were closest to my father, and lots of family members, and my uncles Tom and Steve, who performed with my father for decades. Just hearing their perspective and hearing some stories, and a lot of material that we had never seen before, didn't even know existed, was discovered and added to the film. So it's very unique, and it's got a great message, very inspirational. I hope people see it because they're going to really feel that it's unlike anything they've seen before.
And for you to see the feedback from not only just songwriters and singers of his genre, but of diverse genres that he had affected. I mean, how proud does that make you to know that he has had that kind of an influence on so many different genres?
Yeah, incredibly proud. And just knowing that there are musicians like Billy Joel who were influenced and inspired by my father, and Bruce Springsteen saying great things about him, and Pat Benatar, and they all have performed. Pat Benatar and Billy Joel Pat Benatar and Bruce Springsteen have performed some of my father's music, and Daryl McDaniels does a cover of Cats in the Cradle, and also, knowing that it's been recorded by Judy Collins, Cats in the Cradle, and Johnny Cash, and Ugly Kid Joe, and just, one song recorded by some of the greats is just unbelievable.
And what do you think is going to be the biggest lasting memory of your father, do you think?
Well, that's a tough one, because I think that, music continues. So I think that, over 400 songs and a very rich catalog of story songs, a lot of them were incredibly popular in concert and may not be known to all, but the fact that, the music's being passed from one generation to another, and, they're always artists doing covers. So I think that the music will continue on, but also knowing that my father was, basically dedicated his life, did over 100 benefit concerts a year to try and end hunger and poverty. And here today, we've got about 50 million Americans who are food insecure, and knowing that a lot of these problems haven't gone away. But as the film talks about, it's not only understanding that these problems are out there, but knowing that, there are a lot of people working really hard to try and solve these problems. And so, my father was all about doing something. He did everything he could, but we know that there are a lot of other people who are lending their time and talent and spending a lot of money trying to fight the same issues and try and solve the same problems.
Now, did you, at any point, did you ever have the musical aspirations on your own?
I think I had the typical musical experience in middle school. You play an instrument, you play it for a few years, and then you realize it's not your destiny. So I played the trumpet, and ironically, my father played the trumpet before he switched over to guitar. He also played the harmonica, he played a little bit of the piano, played the banjo. So he and, his brothers Tom and Steve, and his father, my grandfather, Jim Chapin, incredibly musically gifted. I didn't have that talent, but I think I inherited my father's need to get involved, to work on, important issues like hunger and poverty. So I think I followed in my father's footsteps on the humanitarian side, but certainly not on the musical side.
And Jason, speaking on the humanitarian side, I don't think there's any year where the humanitarian efforts are needed more than ever. And how have you been spending 2020 and maybe being introspective about what we can do moving forward as well?
Well, I work in what's called workforce development or talent development. So I'm always working with colleges and other training centers, and we also get a lot of grant money to provide education and training to people who are underemployed or unemployed, and then working with employers who are looking to fill open positions. So we do a lot of job matching and help a lot of people get jobs. And what's really great about that is knowing not only that person now is going to get a paycheck and be able to put food on the table, but how much it benefits their family. And knowing that there are so many people out there struggling, the point I want to make is that there are jobs out there, there are companies hiring. It takes a lot more work and it takes a lot more luck, but we got to make sure that we're doing everything we can, because if you've got 25 million Americans who are not working, that's a really painful thing. And the sooner we get everybody back to work, the sooner we become the country that we want to be.
That's right. And again, Jason, Harry Chapin, when in doubt, do something. I want to make sure and let our listeners know where they can find more information available now.
Yes, they should go to harrychapinmovie.com, and that's where they can find out about all of the virtual cinemas and theaters that are showing it. There are over 70 across the country. You can, if you want to do the virtual cinema experience, then you go to that website, and then you pick a theater, and you can support a local theater by buying a ticket from them and then streaming the movie through their website. And then on October 30th, it's a much wider release. It's going to be available with Amazon and Apple and a bunch of other streaming providers. And then on November 10th, the DVD comes out.
All right. Well, Jason, it has been great to visit with you this morning. Looking forward to the release and checking it out. And hopefully you'll have a great rest of your week, my friend.
You too as well, Cameron. Great being with you.
All right, guys, our next guest on the podcast, he's got a book that kind of explains it all. For the Foster House to the White House, we've got author and comedian and motivational speaker as well, Terrence K. Williams on the line. And Terrence, first off, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Oh, man, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Now, Terrence, tell us where the book. I mean, obviously, that kind of sums the whole the whole scenario of everything that's happened for you. But tell us where the idea for the book and the popularity of the reception from it as well.
Oh, I mean, well, the book is about my life and me going through foster care. I was born and raised in Oklahoma City, and my mother, she was addicted to crack cocaine. Had 9 of us. There were 6 different fathers, and they were not in the picture. And she just couldn't take care of us, with her addiction and being a mother of all these children that she can't feed and that she can't really clothe. And she had her rights she had us taken away, and then they took her rights away. And and I was bouncing from foster home to foster home. And the book is about me, surviving all of that. And becoming the man that I am today, regardless of what I went through, I still made it, and I didn't become a product of my environment. So, and I made it all the way to the White House and met with President Donald J. Trump, sat with him, spoke on the stage behind the presidential podium. And I'm so grateful and thankful for that. And I really hope this book inspires and motivates people all over America and the world.
And Terrence, what do you think in your speakings? Obviously, once you mention Donald Trump, you get different reactions. But what do you have to say to those that maybe question the closeness that you had with Donald Trump?
Listen, I'm just thankful that I met the President of the United States of America. I don't care if it was Obama that I met. Anytime you meet a president, you get an invite to the White House. That is a privilege, and you should be thankful for that. And I'm not going to let people shame me for meeting with President Donald J. Trump. He's a great man. He's a good man, and he's not a racist. He's done so much for America. He's done so much for the black community. This man has my support today and tomorrow and in November. I'm going to be voting for President Donald J. Trump, regardless of what the haters have to say about it.
And for you to see the rise from the lows that you've seen to the highs and all in between, and to be able to reach out and share that message, regardless of the circumstances, you can do what you're called to do. I mean, how cool is that to see the impact you're able to make on others as well?
Yeah, and I have to thank God for that. I mean, because me going through foster care and going through all of that, I'm just surprised. I mean, I'm still shocked that I am where I am today, but that goes to show you that the American dream is real and it's not dead. And I'm going to use my platform to spread the truth and to motivate and to inspire and to help President Donald J. Trump get reelected. I mean, the election is around the corner, and we don't have any games to be playing at all. The time is now. The time is real, and we have to fight for this president because he is fighting for America, so we have to fight for him.
And Terrence, on the front lines, I mean, we see especially now, the only things that we see is what we see on media. And are things really as bad as they say? And are they as good as others are trying to paint the picture as well?
Yeah, I mean, we all know not to trust the media. The media, they're all full of lies. They are full of shit. The media is... the media can't be trusted at all. We've seen that. They have showed us their true colors. The mainstream media is corrupt, and they are pushing an agenda, and people need to do research for themselves. People need to research on their own and really find the truth and seek the truth, and don't just listen to what you hear on TV, because these people can be really, really deceiving. This is our time that everybody in America wake up and smell the coffee. We don't have time to be sleeping and believing these lies.
And Terrence, what is it in your life, in spite of all that's gone on in your life? What is the motivational factor that keeps you going, keeps you upbeat and energetic each and every day?
Listen, just the fact that I appreciate life, just the fact that I appreciate God giving me a second chance after I was in a car wreck last year and fractured my feet 4 through 6 and had surgery on my neck and spine. So, you know what? Just being thankful keeps me going. Just the fact that I have a life, we should just appreciate that, And I just, I have fun and, joke around, laugh, and have a good old time, because I appreciate life.
And I know one of the things that you mentioned before was not becoming a product of the community or the neighborhood that you're at, and using that as a crutch. And how on a cultural level to make that change as well, Terrence?
I mean, it is a challenge, and I'm not going to judge anyone that has become a product of their environment because it's not easy, I mean, it's not easy at all, and I can't judge anyone because we're all made differently, we all think differently, and we all handle things differently. But it is a challenge, but people just have to realize that you can do better, you can be better, and that you just have to just try. It all comes down to trying, just try to do better, just from right from wrong. Now, regardless of what I've been through as a child, as a kid, there comes a time where you have to start taking responsibility as an adult. I'm a grown man. I have to start taking responsibility for my actions. So I can't always use what happened in the past, as an excuse of me making mistakes now, because I know right from wrong, and and people just have to start taking responsibility and just remember, you can remember the past, but do not live in the past. Let it go and let God.
There you go. And I know you mentioned earlier being from Oklahoma. Do you get the support from the Sooner State? I mean, that was, as soon as I saw your name, I was like, I knew exactly who you were. We take pride in you, and how cool is that to have that family environment, if you will?
Oh, Oklahoma is the love of my life. I love Oklahoma. I was born and raised there. I am a Sooner all day, all night, and it's all in my blood, and I do have support in Oklahoma, and I love my Oklahoma people, and I love my haters in Oklahoma too. And I love, because I love Oklahoma, so I love them all. That's
right. Yeah, you got to take the good with the bad, don't we, brother?
Oh yes, you got to. You got to take the good and the bad. You know what? It's an old saying: the haters make you pop. If you're not, that's how you know you're doing something right, when people are hating on you.
and Terrence, another one thing I wonder, I mean, this is what we ask everybody is, obviously we're having to do things a little bit different this year, or a lot different than we have in the past. What has the change in the environment, what has it taught you about yourself this year?
It didn't really teach me nothing about myself this year because, for a long time, I've known a lot about myself, okay? God has, me going through all that stuff in the past, man. Listen, I grew up pretty quick, okay? So, this year really ain't changed nothing about me, because I've been through worse than this pandemic. I've been through way much more than this pandemic, okay? So, the only thing that I learned about myself this year is that I need to fight harder for President Donald J. Trump, because these Democrats are crazy as hell. And they're getting crazier and crazier, so I got to fight harder and harder.
That's good stuff. Now, Terrence, if folks want to find out more information about the book, about any of the other stuff that you got going on social media-wise as well.
Oh yeah, so people can find me on Terrence K. Williams on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and they can go to Amazon and get the book From the Foster House to the White House.
All right. Well, Terrence, it has been great to get to visit with you, get to know you a little bit better, and best of success continued with the book, and hopefully we can catch up again real soon, my friend.
Thank you, brother. God bless you. Thank you for having me on.
Guys, and our final guest on the podcast today is country singer, and I like to call her friend now as well, Emma White. And first off, Emma, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Emma, I know we first got to know each other, I think a little bit before the single came out, and what have you learned after now having that first single under your belt?
I have learned so much. I'm learning something every day about radio, and I've learned that radio is a very tight-knit, fun community. That's probably like the best part of it.
Now, what were your thoughts, or what were maybe your goals whenever the single was released, and how is it hard maybe to kind of keep the expectations within limits, if you will?
That's like the biggest struggle of my life, probably, to keep my expectations in check. But I mean, of course, whenever you release a song, you're like, I want it to be the biggest song ever, but like, I'm always the one kind of pushing, like, we can go further. But originally we were like, we just want to see if we can get charted at all. So we kind of got to that place. So I felt good about that.
And whenever you start getting feedback from the first single, whenever you heard it on the radio the first time, what was that feeling like? Was there any screaming involved?
There always is. I don't think that'll ever go away. It's really cool to know that people are listening just at any time. You have no idea where they are, and they're from all these different cities that I've never been to. It's pretty neat.
And as an independent artist, how important has the social media and the networking and all that? How much have you learned that plays a part in all of it as well?
That has been really interesting. I've been like learning about ads and like social media ads and TikTok ads and 15-second, 30-second, all this stuff that it seems like it's so brief, but people really do respond to it. And I think it does play a role, but sometimes it feels so invisible, like things are happening online that you can't see all the time. And so sometimes you don't really know if you don't really know if it's like getting anyone's attention or if people are really responding to it. So I don't know. I think it does play a role, but I feel like other things play more of an important role. So I'm not sure.
You're just hoping it's not the rolling eyes as they scroll through Facebook, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's so much out there constantly. Yeah.
And the Facebook Lives, I think we talked about this before a little bit, but how difficult is that? And I know early on it was much more difficult because a lot of times you weren't able to see the feedback that you were getting. But has that truly improved for the artist?
I honestly, that's probably the one piece of social media where I could see an immediate response, which was really cool. However, like we did talk about, the quality can be kind of questionable. And I have seen other platforms come out that treat it more of like a show where it's not like you're just putting up, oh, here's the tip jar or something. It's more like people buy tickets. Yeah. So I think at first it was just kind of a way to feel like you were still performing and being active. And I think there's this one platform called Veep that I've seen people do real shows on. I haven't tried to do it yet, but I think it's gotten better in some ways.
Now, has any dates opened up for you? Have you had the opportunity to actually play in front of live folks yet?
I have not. It's so funny. It's like some people are being super cautious and some people are just not being as cautious. And it's funny how like whoever you talk to, your mind can kind of be changed. And so if someone tries to book me a show, I'm like, oh, so we're all good with this. And then I talk to other people and it's like, no, we can't do that yet. So I haven't had a chance yet to do it. But I think if like the right opportunity came along, I'd love to do it. If it was like outside. I did a pretend show actually last week. I did a pretend show outside with masks for Gibson last week. And that was fun.
And now, being an independent artist, obviously, it's different as far as marketing and promotion. So, not the necessary wait for one single for the next single. And I know that with the EP, you've had some other singles that you guys have released as well. And Emma, tell our listeners a little bit about the other singles you've got out there as well.
Yeah, so I released an EP called The Actress last year, and That's Why I Drink was the first radio single. But then I released another song that was almost like a pop song. It's called If You're In It. That had, we did a music video for that one and a song called 10-Year Town. And then I was originally supposed to put a song called Can I Call You Then on the EP, but I held it off and I tweaked it a bit more. And I just recently released that one. So that one's out too.
Now, has the quarantine, has that been a thing that has inspired your writing, or is it something that maybe has made it a little bit harder for the inspiration, if you will?
It depends on the day. Like sometimes I feel like it's kind of the same ebb and flow of inspiration. It's just different. Like what you're worried about is different, or like the stress of the pandemic is a different type of I guess it's a different stress, but it is sort of similar to the normal stuff going on. And I actually like do well with stress. It like inspires me. So I don't know. But then some days I feel like, what is there to write about? I'm not living a normal life. So I think it's like, it is helpful to have co-writers right now for sure, because it kind of feels like even over Zoom, like I'm seeing my co-writers and we kind of catch up normally, and that inspires a lot.
Now, as a songwriter, do you subscribe to the theory of sitting down and making sure you write something every day?
I am always writing. Like even I don't really sleep very much. I don't sleep well. I really wish I did. But even last night, I got up around like 2 a.m. and recorded something into my phone, and I am kind of always writing whether I like it or not. Like it just, I think I just am always like chasing the next idea.
And are the ideas as of late? What inspires the ideas? Are they bright? Are they dark? Are they love lost?
I'm always going to have like a soft spot for unrequited love. That's sort of my expertise. I really like writing about that. That's my favorite, easiest thing for me. I can write it alone because it's, I don't know, it just feels like the most honest thing. And, if you know something, you can write it easily. And then when I'm co-writing, I'm writing a lot more like upbeat, happier songs. And I think that's just because like other people bring that out. But I've been feeling good about writing more happy songs because I don't have a ton of those.
Get some happy in your life, Emma.
Yeah, I need some happy. I'm working on it.
Now, as the quarantine's gone on, what have you been focused on since you've had some time to yourself? What has been the focus of 2020 on the personal and professional side?
These are good questions. I feel like, I guess professionally, I've been focusing on the songs and just trying to like write something that feels unique and just kind of get in tune with what I would want to hear if I was a listener, and then trying to do that. And then I guess, yeah, personally just trying to like keep my head in the right place while the world feels chaotic. Just trying to like, stay in a good headspace. That's been the biggest focus.
And we've got to think that 2021 and 2022 and beyond, hopefully the 2020 will be that time that we'll be like, that's when we learned this, and this, and we've been able to apply it now, right?
Yeah. I hope so. I think so.
Well, Emma, if folks want more information about the music, the EP, and upcoming events as well, where's the best place?
They can always go to my website. It's emmawhitemusic.com. And then all of my social media, Instagram, Twitter, it's all at Emma White Music. So just my name with music at the end for everything.
There you go. Well, Emma, it's always great to visit with you. Was excited about the first single, looking forward to another, and hopefully we can catch up again real soon, my friend.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Again, thanks for tuning us in for this 33rd episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. If you ever have a question, a comment, even anything else you'd like to know, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at GQ with Cam. If you'd like to help out in the funding for this podcast, feel free to click the support tab and follow the instructions. And if you have a special guest idea, feel free to email me, Cameron@kwhw.com. We'll see you for episode number 34 coming up tomorrow.